I want you to close your eyes and think back on the most fun and memorable party you ever attended. Was it a wedding? A birthday party? What was the music that was playing? How was the food? Most importantly, who was there? Now, I'm not much of a party girl, but even I, introvert extraordinaire, can remember some unforgettable gatherings with close friends. These were sunny afternoons with flip-flops and shorts as the music in the Bluetooth speaker played our favorite tunes until the sun went down. It was perfect. Or almost perfect, because sometimes someone with questionable music taste queued up a really lame song, or maybe there was a beloved friend or two that were missing for some reason or other. But never did I ever think, I wish there were fewer of us. Less laughter, less music, less food. When you're with those that you love, you never think, I wish I could just enjoy this glorious summer afternoon and all of these gifts and all of this food all by myself. Welcome back to Fields and Flowers, a Christian podcast where we journey through the Bible to learn more about the character of God. In our last episode, we explored the idea that despite our flaws and imperfections, we possess an inherent beauty that comes from being made in the image of our Creator. In this episode, we're going to build on that foundation. If we are made in the image of a God who sees beauty in us and declares His creation to be very good, then we too have a purpose rooted in that goodness and beauty. Now, Genesis is an incredible book for many reasons, but one of the most profound is how it portrays our origins, our deep relationship with God, and the very purpose of our existence. Let's delve into Genesis once again. Genesis 1:26-27 says, Then God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. Like I said in the last episode, humans were created uniquely in God's image, reflecting His nature and character. And this identity grants humans inherent value, worth, and a divine purpose beyond mere existence. Now, the million-dollar question here is, what exactly were we made for, though? Sadly, a lot of us, even Christians, live day-to-day life as if God only created us to look pretty and populate the earth like many of the other creatures that He made. However, we are called to a life that is far more glorious than completing the cycle of life. In a world where many of us live without a sense of purpose, I think it's very important for us to pause and remember, and also live like we were made for more. Our purpose begins with reflecting God's character, which includes stewardship, love, creativity, and so on. Now, what is this divine purpose that God has for us? The first one is to be stewards and care for creation. Genesis 1:28 says, And God blessed them, and God said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Genesis 2:15 continues saying, The Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. Now, God's command to be fruitful and multiply is not just about having children. Spiritually, it means spreading His image and goodness throughout the earth. The call to work and keep the garden emphasizes our role as caretakers of God's creation, tasked with nurturing and protecting the world. Christ likened us to cities on hills, lamps whose light cannot be hidden, sowers scattering seeds. All of these images serve to emphasize the fact that our purpose is to contribute positively to the world around us. Which brings us back to my point at the beginning of the podcast. The second of the purposes for which we were created is cultivating relationships, love, and community. There's a belief that many of our world's problems like pollution, rising costs, resource depletion, inflation, all of these are due to too many people on this earth. We are led to believe that the more people there are, the worse things get. But more humans isn't exactly the problem. It's only a problem because of the broken systems we've put in place that cause these issues. And also, it's the greed, the avarice, and selfishness of those in power who have failed to be good stewards that are the actual problem. Because when God created this beautiful world of ours, a world full of resources that could have supported every single living being since Adam, without any of them dying off, He envisioned something entirely different than what we have now. Just as the best parties only get better when more friends arrive, or how a symphony becomes even more majestic with the addition of more instruments or even a grand chorus, God intended for humanity to be a magnificent addition to the universe. We are called to enhance the beauty and goodness of His creation, not to diminish it. And so, dismiss the idea that other people, your neighbors, are the problem. God created humans for community. That's why He said in Genesis 2, "It is not good for man to be alone," highlighting the importance of living in harmony, supporting one another, and spreading His love. Christ Himself underscores this in John 13 when He says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Also, Matthew 22 says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, and with all of your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself." By living out these commandments, we fulfill our purpose and reflect God's nature in our interactions and relationships. Okay, and finally, what I think is the most compelling reason why God created us is that we were made to glorify God. Living a life that glorifies God means using our gifts, our talents, and resources to bring Him praise and advance His kingdom on earth. You have unique gifts and abilities that God can use for His glory. Every action, no matter how small, is an opportunity to honor God and reflect His greatness. As 1 Corinthians 10:31 reminds us, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all in the glory of God." Now, when I think about glorifying God, my mind almost immediately conjures up images of heaven and the white thrones surrounded by millions upon millions of heavenly beings, angels. Once or twice in my study, I've come across the idea that it was God's design to elevate man equal to the angels. Imagine, our destiny is to transcend the earthly cares and lusts and sinful shackles in favor of an existence of holiness and love where day to day our only goal will be to glorify God as the angels do. Some even say that the redeemed will fill the vacancies made in heaven by Satan and his angels. In Paradise Lost, John Milton wrote, "He had driven out the ungodly from his sight and the habitation of the just. To him glory and praise, whose wisdom had ordained good out of evil to create. Instead of spirits of malign, a better race to bring into their vacant room, and thence diffuse his good to worlds and ages infinite." What an incredible destiny! To be angels. The word angel in the Bible is translated from the Hebrew and Greek words which both mean messenger. God sends angels to warn and comfort and guide people by communicating His messages to them, And that is what He wants us to be in the here and now and for all eternity. And in that eternity, we will be able to share the message to others about God and what He has done in our lives and His saving work in us. Again, I am awestruck when I think about what God intends for us. And that is why we are urged in 1 Peter 1:16 to be holy. In the words of Oswald Chambers, God's destiny for humanity isn't happiness or wealth, it's holiness. His one aim for all men and women is to turn us into His sons and daughters. Holiness means keeping every detail of your life under God's scrutiny. It means unsullied thinking with the mind, unsullied talking with the tongue, and unsullied walking with the feet. Be holy, because I am holy. Wow, what a tall order. Yeah, we all need grace. There's absolutely no way we can attain holiness without God. But that is the reason why Satan is continuously at work to pull us away from God, because by doing so, we are being distracted from such an amazing destiny. Since Satan has been defeated in the cross, the only way he can, quote-unquote, harm God is through us. And so he is working overtime, trying to overwhelm us with darkness and doubt and entertainment and distractions, the nearer it gets to the end of the world. But as long as we abide in God, and as long as we remember who we are, that is, God's beautiful creation, and what we were called to do, which is to be stewards, to cultivate relationships, and to glorify God through our lives, then we don't need to fear anything. God has our back. I'm thinking back to the party I had you imagine at the beginning of the episode. God made you in mind with the purpose of making sure that the party He had planned would be perfected with you there. There's nothing more sad than knowing that there could have been friends that didn't make it to the party, and I hope that you and I both make it to that party that He has planned for all of us. As you go about your day, thank God for His intentional design and purpose for you, and let Him continue to work in you and through you, shaping you to fulfill the purpose for which you were created. Thank you for listening. Now, Genesis 2 is so jam-packed with stuff I could have talked about. In the first iteration of this episode, I focused on the marriage of Adam and Eve, and I focused on relationships, romantic relationships, and where God fits into all of that. However, to make up for it, I will talk about a very romantic flower. And so, I would like to introduce you to Jasmine. Jasmine is a popular garden plant from the olive family that has a distinct and powerful aroma in a white star-shaped flower. It is a native to the Old World, and it has been loved and beloved for thousands of years for its perfume and its beauty. Having originated in the rugged Himalayas, jasmine is not a delicate bloom per se. It can be found in the wild, running amok in forests, along rivers, and pretty much anywhere that has a favorable climate and soil. However, to make the essential oil, the pickers have to be very careful. In all, it takes 7.5 million flowers to produce 1 kilogram of essential oil, and of course, the essential oil is very expensive. Jasmine is one of the best oils that are said to help sexual vitality and intimacy, but most importantly, it can help support emotional health, as well as help women with PMS symptoms and female reproductive health. If you have the essential oil, I have some blends for you to try. My favorite way to use it? Well, I love it as part of a perfume blend, which I put on a roll-on and apply to my wrists. It is very potent though, so a little goes a very long way. That is all for today. Join me next time as we talk about Genesis 3. Oh boy, the fall. But even here, we can find God's love for us. I can't wait to share with you my take on it. I hope you join me next time. Until then, remember that you're beautiful, you are loved, and you were made with a purpose.